Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game 2, Round 2 of the NEBVEMBER tournament. I'm Nekoboy Blue, and I'm joined by Scape GT.
Hello.
We've got in the blue trunks over here, this is going to be Team SANDJOVER, consisting of Hellcringe, which is Hunter, Quiz, Heaven Base, which is Herman, and Snipes. Scape, you want to tell me who's on Team 2?
Yes, Team 2 is Team Hjonk. We've got Stevosaurus, Nather, Javel, and Pigsy. They are playing the OSP team here on Yukon.
All right. Game 1 went to Team SANDJOVER with a decisive carrier win. They've now swapped sides, and Yukon was the map of choice from the losing team, so we're going to see what they brought to counter them here.
All right.
Taking a quick look at this, I'm seeing a lot of carrier from the ANS side. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 levies on the board so far.
Looks like Pigsy is doing a similar thing that they did on ANS. It looks like they're bringing a tug ball middle of the map here. Over the top, we have Javel in the Moor line. We'll see if that's carrier or if that is CLN. We got a Cello and Liner on that flank, and then some various cappers around the map from Nather. OSP, I'm seeing...
Like Wings of 3 I'm seeing around the board here. That'll be interesting to see how it performs.
I am seeing 3 levies on the ANS right now.
Yeah, I think that we may have another Fighter Max build. We'll see.
Well, I mean, it worked last time.
Yeah.
Anyway, 10 seconds here on deploy. We will get to see everything that is going on here. Neko, you want to take ANS this time?
Yeah, I'll take ANS first. We'll go through that quick and then get to OSP. Probably going to be a fast bit of aggression with the fighters like we saw last time around. On the drop, I'm witnessing an Axford here, so nice to see there's at least some heavy capitals.
I mean, there was only one frontline fleet on SANDJOVER last time, so...
Fair enough. All right, top of the board here from Heaven Base. This is going to be a Axford pair coming in with 450s on the front. Size 3 launcher on the back. Some River Fold missiles there. Not sure what those are. Anyways, this is just going to be a classic double Axford front towards enemy. Pretty simple stuff. Nothing too complex with that. Hellcringe is going to come in here with a double levy build, as we had seen there. Looks like...
Yeah, it's all S1s.
His DWAX, size 1. Yep, nose illuminator on these, so this is just a pure strike build by the looks of it. Yep, their weapon of choice is going to be just... What's that? 300 and something size 1s. All right,
I should mention that the 300 and something size 1s is per levy.
Oh, yes, so, okay, that's more like 700 in total then, adding them all up.
Yep.
Anyways, Quiz comes in with these destroyers. Destroyers, to my surprise, actually carrying defenders. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 of these destroyers scattered around the board. You can look, looks like 1 up top, 1 middle overwatching A point, another one kind of down low towards the east side, and the last one guards the B point there. Ah, here's they cheaped out. Oh, no,
1 a cringe capper.
2 cringe cappers and 3 regular cappers missing the defenders. That's where they've skipped a little bit of the budget.
Yep.
Right. So, it's going to be rounded out with Snipes coming in with their own set of beam destroyers. Okay, 1, 2, 3 beam destroyers here. 7 beam stones is a lot. And their own carrier of choice, the Find here. This thing's fitted with a whole bunch of Tontos. These have coil gun and centerline fuel tank.
No missiles. It's all coil guns. This is a complete ASF build from Snipes on that carrier.
So we've got the ASF carrier from Snipes just trying to contest the skies, and then Pure Strike coming in from Hellcringe Hunter. Then there's 3 empty cappers to round out ANS side. Okay, right. OSP, what do we got?
Yeah, let's go quick. Javel is bringing the carrier on OSP right now. We got some bombers and a bunch of different types of fighters here, notably less than what was brought last time on OSP. Some pikes as well here. We've got 1 with nothing, and then 1 that are built up a bit more with the EO ball and everything.
Blade of foam, ball target, yeah. Noticeably, the bombers also have a blade of foam, so they will be able to tank a incoming SDM2, a very common counter to them.
Neither, I would say that this is a cav fleet, but this is not. This looks like a bunch of different Ruddle swarms here. We have 1 on Eclipse. We have 1 going low under the map. We have 1 sitting pretty behind Dagger here, and then we have 1 aggressing onto A point here. Lots of Ruddles. This is a full 10 Ruddle build here. We will see how that works for them. Pigsy with the monitor ball here, I'm assuming saw... No, those are torpedoes. Those are MLS3s. Torpedo tug swarm here. Very interesting. This is Yukon. You have some pretty close range stuff here. We'll see if that works for them. And then Stevosaurus rounding things up is a standard Acello plus 450 liner frontline fleet here with 2. Oh, one of them is a Jam Escort, and the other is a Cringe Capper on Dagger.
All right. Kind of check boxing for the team there, just capping the D point and then stepping off from it. We're going to see Cobra Flight already engages onto E point down here. See if the 20 mil does anything. There is a Pavis here. Looks like it's not in arc, unfortunately. Cobra Flight goes a little bit close, but then steps off. They think about doing their strike, but looks like they're holding back. Maybe jammed out.
Claw Squadron is immediately sorting directly towards Rocket here. Rocket flanking underneath the rock where people typically put their CLNs, maybe trying to find it early on here. Flak going out into Rocket, immediately splashes 2, heavily damages a couple other. Rocket, looks like they're turning back, don't want to face that.
Rocket trying to go for a strike here while they can, knowing they're not going to get out of this. Size ones are out.
These are Saw S1s. One hit into the drive section of one of the tugs, not a whole lot.
Yeah,
of
one impact there on the Shanna L something.
Wafts, look at this. Wafts Squadron with coil guns flanking over the top here, under flak fire from
immediately 6 kills, 7 kills, 8.
Claw Squadron rounds the
Claw
corner,
eviscerated.
Eviscerated. Wow, the coil guns are absurdly strong, aren't they?
That's Wasp Squadron now in a bit of trouble as they suddenly get jumped. Crimson Squadron coming up here with 20 mil. They were run out of ammo and run out of health bar.
Not a good situation for OSP, all things considered, considering now that ANS knows exactly where that carrier is. We are like 5 minutes into the match.
Strike should be on the way before too long. That said, trade out there, like those Chantos, they did very well at first, but then to follow up, just more Barracuda proceeded to add up, and they did not have the ammunition to engage. 8-point cap goes through here with Quiz on it.
We can see a couple of Nather's Ruddles are aggressing onto the point to try and retake that there, although Rocket, what's left of Rocket Squadron, does engage, damages one of them. Another one of them
Quiz's Beamstone going to say something about that as we catch it now cooking one of those Ruddles right in the drive and the reactor.
And the reactor, although the Ruddles look like they no hits on that Cringe Capper as it dodges.
Only got a couple of their beams out before or a couple of their rockets out before the beam took them out. That's going to be one of them going super critical here in the drive. Fuel line fire on that reactor overload to boot.
Quiz immediately vaporizes the other ones as ANS holds A with several Beamstones overlooking it. This is a really bad spot for OSP to be in right now, as they need to push into all of that to, you know, dislodge things here.
OSP's trying to go for it. They've got their lead ship here, the Ocello, supported by this monitor ball, and then they've got their liner on standby nearby. They're trying to consolidate, keep their point defense strong. They know there's a lot of fighter craft to contend with. The Sarissas on this Ocello are going to do a lot of work one-shotting any of these fighters that happens to get in arc and get unlucky.
I'd like you to take a look at where Snipes is. The lightsaber Beamstone is positioned right now. Not really a common spot for a Beamstone, but a very genius one if you think about it. This Beamstone is likely positioned behind those carriers about, what is that, 3-ish kilometers out, specifically to deal with the Ruddles that try and flank the carriers here. Very excellent position from Snipes there. You can see Quiz
makes sense given the positioning of the other ones positioned farther forwards. We see a couple of them just kind of scattered around. That's the secondary Overwatch layer for when one of those eventually will get jumped by the Ruddle player.
The sheer amount of Beamstones that ANS has allowed them to actually cover each other here. Very, very excellent positioning from SANDJOVER right now. The Ruddle Swarm low gets spotted, likely by Frontier Squadron. This is an AWACS aircraft, which that is about, what is that, 8-kilometer range? Yep, as Highball Squadron, which is a S1 strike, immediately sorties to deal with those. ANS
Bloom on the A point, illuminating all of these fighters here as they will dive towards them. Size 1 Tanto nose illuminators, I believe, are still 5-degree cones, so they are pretty good at catching smaller ships.
Right.
Seeing a little bit of aggression towards Seaside now as I flick my camera back up here. Well, illumination from that Ocello is going to be able to spot this little capper from Quiz. Things trying to run for its life. Large caliber rounds are going to do nothing against a small ship of this size.
The thing they're just going to go with SAW S1s into these fast-moving shuttles is that a lot of the time the shuttles move outside of the range of their chaff, so unless they're constantly dropping chaff, they will be outside of its radius. All these fighters have to do is wait until they are and then strike. You can see they are getting a flank on these.
Speaking of fighters, Gorgon Flight in the middle of the map getting caught by a bunch of SDM-2s. Crimson Flight thinking about taking it. They do have SDM-2 launched, so they're happy to play standoff here. Coil guns can shoot down incoming SDM-2, so it's a bit of a trade there. 20 mil versus coil guns right now as both sides kind of bark out some shots. Bunch of size 1s here from Reflex Flight as they're going to bring out a whole bunch of their command frag. Just show you can just bring offensive missiles on these even without the nose gun to support it in a brawl like this.
Crimson, forced into defensive here, gets immediately wiped as Gorgon just flicks on the coil guns and shatters the rest of that squadron. Hot Rod from over top with 24 STM-200s flanks into the combat area here, trying to support that down squadron. C-Point now under threat as the tug ball is sorting onto the point. Multiple beamstones in position to try and stop that. The Acello is now brawling with one of the experts here. They do manage to actually catch these experts relatively broadside on, or at least one of them. Two pair is pretty side on, is engaging.
Hot Rod Flight is taking the fight against Reflex here and winning. A couple of their missiles overcommitted onto one track we saw there. 4 STM-2s. Feels like you're playing nuclear option with every SAM on the map shooting you right there.
Splash
They're going to clean up shop here, no
STM-200s
problem.
Means that, yeah, they can get some good kills there, as that is a wipe. Beamstone now firing at the tug ball here. Misses its initial
Gets a burn on one of
shot.
them, but is going to lose its beam
yep.
here before too long. 43% and adding up.
These
20 mil
are
kicks on. These torpedoes are
CMB
snaking lazily towards it. I don't think that's going to be enough. Their defenders
Beamstone
are not locked
not
in.
going to
Crunch
stop
goes the
that. Yep.
nose.
It does manage to kill one of the tugs. We shall see if that is enough to allow OSP to take the C point here. You can see a bunch of fighter squadrons have already begun to resortie up towards C, although there is a lot of stuff there for those to chew through. Hitmen as well. Hitman Squadron hunting around on the D flank here. Looks like the Ruddles from Nether do manage to get away from Highball. Highball is still pursuing them, though. Or at least flanking low under the map, maybe trying to find that carrier.
Keeping them honest for the moment here, just being in the presence there, seeing off anything else. Snipes making a play towards D-point side. There are Ruddles in position to punish that. Hitman squad there from Hellgringe is about half on their fuel, so they may have to go back to their carrier afterwards, but they can cover a D-side aggression here.
These are centerline
so lack
field
of radar
tank.
is going to hurt them.
Those are centerline field tank Tontos, which means that they probably have the range to loiter there and hunt down those Ruddles, which will leave Dagger open for Snipes to just take.
You are correct. For some reason, I thought these were weapons bay, but no. Yeah, just a centerline fuel tank, nose illuminator, and then the wing pods have missiles.
Take weapons bay when you're using S1s? You get 4 per thing. Anyway,
you make a good point.
Neither committing rockets on one of Quiz's beamstones here. The defender, though, firing. Those rockets came from long range. None of them get through. The defender cleans up really well against that. Probably a desperation strike from Nether. That is a very damaged Ruddle. All of the beamstones now know that's there and likely will be pivoting. Fulcrum Squadron, that is 20 with 80 S1s. Pivots onto C here, trying to hunt down that capper. No chaff on this capper means that those will get through here. A grazer shot goes out.
Yep, there we go. Oh, no, they briefly microed wrong there. We saw them flick their nose illuminator on and off, but they might have been trying to limit the shots. No, they're just going to hell dump it. Well, that's 80 size ones down. They're,
no
what, 2
other
points apart?
reserve assets from OSP to try and continue the camp here as the tugboat actually moves around, probably trying to catch one of those experts at close range, but unfortunately they are far enough away from the rock for that not to matter. ANS knows that those are torpedo tugs and is likely prepped for it. Neither forced off of Dagger. Their Ruddles are in retreat as ANS just steps onto D here. We have the squadron of 3 Ruddles
Hitman
now
Flight's looking for those Ruddles, but at the same time, Hitman Flight limited radar range on these. They may not know that those Ruddles are there, just trying to fish around, see if there's anything that would try and attack this D point. Empty Capper here does actually have a radar, so they would be able to provide like some spotting, but in this case, with the ice shelf between them, they're not really able to see anything. Lightning Flight going to get the better part of the engage here. They're low on ammunition, but still a couple SDM2s will make Hitman Flight think twice if any of these gets purchased or not. One splash.
Has no offensives, which means, yeah, Lightning will, yeah, they're really low on 20 mil right now.
4 cap for the moment, but B is going to be attacked here. They're putting 3 of their Ruddles on here. The Aria squad is deployed. Jamming out the common beamstone position makes a lot of sense here. They are going to try and get their strike through. Single beamstone might not be enough, but we'll see if these fighters can get on that or not. They just did all of their strikes, so bad timing for them.
Excellent positioning as well from Quiz's gun capper, that capped boxer, giving early warning and offset tracks to allow the beamstone to be able to pivot here. Very, very well done from Quiz there. Knows exactly where to put those cappers. Over the top here, the experts do manage to get arc on the
rocket shot, maybe a little bit early from B point side. They are going for the dump from 4 kilometers or so. That's pretty far.
Probably a little bit desperate to try and get hits. They're getting hits! Will be enough, though.
Looks like the beamstone did not drift on quite the right angle.
It will
Small
not be
locker
enough.
is
The
redded, but the beam is alive.
survives,
It can get on target here.
Follow-up strike from the Ruddles. Doesn't look like it. One of them doubling back to try and get in the cover relative to the beamstone. Looks like Nather is going to sacrifice 2 of them as a distraction so that one of them will survive. Boxer does go
Ewar
to,
Ruddle is going to get cooked
OSP
there.
here.
It tried a last-second Ruddle attempt. They're going for it with what they got.
Rocket strike,
Cell cook-off on the
likely
rockets
going
here.
to miss as well as the beamstone is now pivoting. That Raider drive, that's not even a Raider drive. That's just a regular drive.
Look, curious about the
rocket hits into the
defenders
nose,
here, what
though.
they're doing.
2 into the nose, though, knocks out the beam. Those Ruddles will survive on Boxer for a little bit longer here.
I'm very confused by those defenders there. Those did not seem to fire at all.
Defender moment. Sometimes they just do that here. You can see Javel committing onto the Axford pair. Those are size 3 ACMs from the Axfords, the Riverfolds. Only 4 of these in total between the 2 Axfords.
Still more than enough to see off these bombers. With the groupings of 3, it's possible that they can get a triple kill here, but Tyrant Flight's pretty spaced out.
CMD awake.
Demon's
Tyrant
closer.
goes into defensive. 1 hit.
Nope,
1
takes
kill.
1.
Another.
Oh,
takes out
tanks
none.
it.
He tanks it.
The ablative foam and the bad roll on that is going to mean that they live.
Screech Squadron, though, has already found the bombers. The bombers are in disarray. They're nowhere near the target, as Streak is just going to capitalize off that and just tear them apart.
Trying their size 1s into them. They don't get the best impacts.
Though. Yeah, possible that these
not enough armor pen, I
survive.
don't believe, with these.
Javel splitting the squadrons into independent groups of 1 each to try to avoid the S3H ACMs, although that strike has been completely defanged at this point. They are going in every which direction.
All right. OSP continues to try their advance. Stevosaurus is moving around the map now, going to walk into beamstones if they're not too careful here. OSP lacks radar detection in the forward area that they're now walking their capitals into. Snipes is going to see this coming briefly with one of their Corvettes. This means that ANS does have awareness of this left side push and can start moving to capitalize and punish it.
Acello is using a Huntress radar, which means it has a lot less range than you would expect out of an Acello here. You can see Snipes has been able to move a couple of beamstones up to Quizzes. Oh,
double reactor blim on the board right now as 2 shuttles go off. Quiz will secure the B side, moves back onto the point here. There's still 1 Ruddle left, although I don't think it has. No, it's not actually fired its missiles. Never mind.
No, it's
they might be able to hold the B point a little
longer.
longer.
It's just waiting for that thing to step on the point, yeah, so it can duck out and get the kill here. The rest of the bombers are just going to get cleaned up by the various fighters that ANS has around. C point now being attempted by the Swarm here, although too little too late as Snipes has re-pivoted one of their beamstones over to C and has Quiz is also getting another one of their beamstones up. Although now the beamstones are under fire from the Acello. Although that
Pigsy trying it now as they move on to C point. They're committing the tugs. They might be able to get this cap to flip here.
Look at the Acello. Look what's right underneath it. Snipes with the perfect position
that
with
is
this beamstone.
trouble.
The beamstone already firing its beam. Yep, it's already aiming. This Acello is within, what is that, like 2 kilometers out of the beamstone. It's going to get
that is
vaporized.
cook distance.
Yep, that Acello
with the broadside shot, instant death.
Yeah, that Acello is not winning that fight. As the Axfords now pivot onto C to deal with
hang on a sec. I just took a quick look inside of the Acello here. Triple drive on this thing. And still able to run Auroras and Sarissas.
Yeah. Well,
that explains the Huntress radar power
yeah, that's
requirements.
The beamstone here is just going to pivot, though, and immediately eviscerate that Acello. C-point being attempted here by OSP. The torpedo tugs on the point, although the Axfords are doing an excellent job at range controlling. Understanding that that is indeed a torpedo group there. Make sure that they are out of range the entire time here.
Acello about to get opened up on. The board magma from Snipes is cruising around the corner. I'm betting B short is flicked on this thing. Yep, there we go. Right into the broadside. Instantly takes out this thing's gun plot. Takes out a reactor. Fishing for that CIC. Might find it. Turns it bright orange at the very least. Takes out some of the rear thrusters there. You see that aim point swapping every 5 seconds or so. There you go. Center stack mag is down. CIC is suffering. Drives are getting taken out here as well. This thing is getting cooked.
Right. You can see the liner now trying to pivot fire to assist, but it is too little too late for that Acello there. S1's as well.
Size 1 strike for good measure.
Yep.
We've talked before on the channel about how missiles with beam just to do extra damage and then the beam collects. We're going to see it now. Just, yeah, center stack is gone. Down to 2 aux steerings and a dream. Snipes does have to pull back, though, as the beam gets sniped out from that liner, but still, that's decisive damage against a Acello that they really could not afford to lose.
Meanwhile, on Boxer, the attempt fails as Quiz has enough gun cappers still alive right now. Quiz has not lost a single ship, by the way, as the cap player. ANS is only down a singular hull, and that was one of their A cappers, I believe.
SDM2 launch here, trying to thin out Gorgon Flight a little bit here. That said, Gorgon Flight potentially could engage those, but is just kind of caught with their pants down as two of them are going to get splashed. Trying to go evasive now, see what they can do.
OSP does take the C point, is taking Dagger right now, although they are losing Eclipse right now as Snipes manages to get a cringe capper onto the point. That's one of the ones that flanked wide early in the game and does manage to get completely around the map without being spotted right now. Stegosaurus down to basically only their liner. That Acello is chain restorable. Although, ooh, nope, that's a fuel line fire in the drive with a lot of debuffs. That thing is going to fuel line fire.
10 seconds, and a reactor overload as well. We'll see which one of those goes off first in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Probably fuel
1.
line fire, right? That's the fuel line fire thing? Yep, okay, fuel line fire goes
40
off.
seconds left on that one.
Kills that, restore.
Yep. DC teams, let's see. Repairing fire and repairing reactor overload, 33%.
Reactor shutdown comes off.
Out there.
Yeah, reactor shutdown comes off. Really kind of get close on that reactor scram. We'll see if that is enough time to save that
Potentially in time, we will see.
Claw Squadron now committing onto the liner here. Flak guns firing.
Liner does have flak, which should do full damage against these size ones. We will see what ends up happening is this liner. Nope, just kind of tanking those S1s, honestly. Not that much damage, but still.
SDMs from Ballista into Splinter and Claw do manage to split the squadron up. Taking a look at that Acello. It gets the scram off just in the nick of time. 1 second left on the timer there, and it does manage to save itself. The liner will finish off this beamstone here on the flank, which leaves the carriers in pretty open space right now, although they have already very much done their
Situation-wise,
job.
this is rather interesting since the carriers are currently getting compromised. Stegosaurus, despite losing their Acello there at first, is now in position to start punishing these carriers. If they can get around the rock, they can force the carriers to have to move towards the A point. Potentially, the tug ball dives down and collapses on them.
Snipes is already moving that ship onto A right now. You can see the tug ball is also repositioning towards A as well, although, that being said, take a look at all these very healthy beamstones around that C flank there, just waiting for that tug ball around the corner. ANS doing a really good job with repositioning their beamstones into really, really priority into key spots right now. OSP also does manage to take A, by the way. Neither manages to get a half-dead Ruddle onto the point. As OSP is actually going to secure a 3-cap here, although Dagger is in danger of flipping right now, as the only thing on that is a cringe capper, and Quiz still has a couple of gun cappers in reserve to send onto the point.
Quiz's gun capper will be that cringe capper. They've got another one flying around the outside of D side, so 3 Corvettes there looking to collect on that. OSP pulls a 3-cap for the moment, but ANS is still a decent points lead ahead of them, 628 to 454 on the board right now.
Right.
A couple of wide shots going towards, I want to say where were those 450s firing at? Possibly was firing towards the dead destroyer. Saw them zoom off.
Low could have been. The carriers do manage to flank speed to safety. They get around the corner there.
A-cap is finally cleaned up as that shuttle has been removed by something or other, possibly any of these beamstones.
They're sending one of their last Ruddle pair down to Eclipse to try and retake it here. Snipes only has a cringe capper there, which means that OSP should be able to retake. ANS, though,
Snipes, to the credit, might stay off scope here, just barely avoided by that Ruddle pair. They're going to slip back into cover here.
Wow, excellent movement from that Sprinter there, as it probably is, it's going to round the corner and be safe.
Credit to ANS for maintaining very good sensor coverage with a lot of their assets. We saw that sundial underneath the map here, providing them kind of the low side scouting. Then just all these other little assets giving eyes for their beamstones to capitalize on. Highball Flight's going to try and do something over here on the left side. We see a bunch of those DMD size ones go out.
Ballista out of SDM 200s. Highball is no, Highball has no offensive weapons other than those missiles there. That is one.
Highball only needs those, apparently. It's Ballista down to a singular plane.
Arbiter committing onto the liner again. Flak guns once again firing. These S1s are ready to go. There they go. Chaff launched. Will the Chaff be close enough to distract these S1s? No, it will not. Some of them go for the Chaff. A lot of them going into the liner. Not doing a whole lot of damage against the liner, but enough to help the 450 from the Axebirds, which have now pivoted onto this liner here.
Axford pair alone against this liner would win this. Those size 1s doing a bit of damage beforehand. Going to soften it up very well here. That liner needs to get itself into cover and start repairing.
OSP
This is
losing
doing
Dagger.
enough for the ANS right now, but the ECAP going on as we speak.
Right, they're going to lose Dagger, though. Looks like OSP will still maintain their 3 cap, just barely. They'll go to 4 cap for a second here, probably, but they're going to lose it again. The Beamstone's now pushing around into Pigsy here as the Beamstone's
There we go. Quiz gets
position.
a latch onto 1. Instantly see that thing remove a torpedo tug or 2.
Right, Pigsy now
Torp
forced to
tugs
fall
are
back here, unable to put pressure on A as Quiz is just flank speeding towards A with multiple ships. The carrier
Snipes going
as
as well.
Carrier gets spotted a little bit, although the liner is very busy with the Axford right now, getting chewed up by them quite a lot. The damage that the S1s did is it wasn't significant, but it was enough to put it into really weak territory against that 450.
It gets into that territory where the 450 hits that you can normally soak now are suddenly knocking out essentials. We see the large storage has been taken out. The VLS-2 launcher with the chaff has been knocked out as well, meaning a secondary strike could be much more lethal on the approach.
Right. Dragoon attempting a strike onto E right now. Finds a couple of the Ruddles there.
Out of desperation, Cyclone Flight is a squad of pikes that jumps onto Highball. Highball does not have size 1s and is actually going to get chewed up pretty bad here. Pikes being naturally faster than Tantos. They'll get some purchase for now.
Cyclone is very
dangerously low on fuel, though.
They will return to base pretty soon. Yeah, Hunter with the okay lol as Pikes chew up one of their fighter squadrons there.
ECAP Dragoon Flight with their size 1s is going to collect on one of the shuttles there. That will be a dead jam and rocket shuttle.
Pigsy
don't know if it had its rockets still. Yes, it had a full
fight
complement.
these Beamstones here in defense of A, likely trying to dislodge them so they can deal with A. ANS doing a really excellent job of range controlling these tugboats here, always staying outside of torpedo range. Another beam goes out.
A little bit all over the place, as looks like they don't quite have the lock they want.
As
interesting.
Snipes,
jamming doing enough to break that, I guess. Still no wait, no jamming
there
from
there goes the target lock. Jamming out from the tugboats have a little bit of jamming out that might. It's not enough. Yep, the Beamstones are just going to split their fire and absolutely eviscerate the rest of Pigsy right now.
They are reaching the end of beam range there. We see that 6-kilometer cutoff as the beams, they tickle, but they don't kill. 250 could poke away at those beamstones, but there's nothing stopping them going back into cover. GG is looking like it's being called here.
Yep.
ANS able to secure a 3 cap. Yeah, that's going to be OSP punching out. Interesting tech coming in here with the double carrier plays in both games from Team 1. That would be SANDJOVER.
Yep, SANDJOVER is going to take this 2-0 as their excellent carrier play in both games is going to completely deprive Hjonk of all of their valuable assets. As, yeah, no, they're going to take this one. There goes the surrender from all of OSP here.
Yep. OSP just waiting on Nether to give their last Ruddle hoorah against Quiz here, see if they can get some purchase or not. Interesting builds coming in from the Hjonk squad. We saw that they came in with some cool stuff here and there, but just were not able to deal with this double carrier mass strike plays we saw.
Yep. SANDJOVER with very excellent carrier play in both games, electing to use completely R2s and S1s. It works really well, though. Team SANDJOVER knows very well how much of a boon it is to remove the light assets from the opposing team right now, and they did an excellent job.
And also preserve their own. We have to give them credit for that, as we saw in both games. They kept a lot of their stuff up.
I feel like that was a lot due to the ASF that they had provided by Snipes there. Snipes was able to just kind of deprive the OSP carrier of doing pretty much anything at all. You can see Javel here with only, zeros across the board on Javel right there, is they get basically constantly intercepted.
Unable to send torpedoes out. Most of their fighters gone.
Without the fighters to help against the Beamstones, OSP really just didn't have anything that they could do there. The Axfords just able to zone out the torpedo tugs there. Same with the Beamstones. We're just able to take those favorable engagements the entire time with all of the sensors that they had up and complete map awareness. Meanwhile, the Protectorate was bled really early on those light Ruddles there that were attempting snipes against those Beamstones. The fighter coverage and the 2-layer defenses of the Beamstones just meant that there was not really a whole lot the Ruddles could do against those valuable backline assets here. And meanwhile,
I think we saw in both games from SANDJOVER the effectiveness of just the screening force. In this case, 7 Beamstones. Previous game, we saw that monitor ball able to ward off any potential light aggression that would head towards the carriers. gave them the time for their greedy double backline build to pay off. They got their deck cycles, they got their strikes out, and they just managed to collect on this for not a free win, but definitely one that they managed to get a snowball rolling and then capitalize on.
Right.